Welcome to the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney Apke, and I'm your host. On the Soulish Podcast, we talk about the soul journey, the ish in the soul, and the body-soul-spirit connection. And I bring on guests as well as have solo episodes like today. And it's just such an honor and privilege to have you as a listener. Thank you so much for listening. If this is your first time on the podcast listening, thank you so much for listening. Welcome. Really happy to have you. This episode is going to be really female centric. So for all my male or male identified listeners, just a heads up on that, as well as I'm going to be talking about Yoni eggs, womanhood, sisterhood, but it still can benefit you and help educate you and just at least give you like a broader perspective on the female anatomy as well as what goes on, and all the things. So for my female listeners, I want to just be really clear because anytime that you talk about something that you're like inserting into your body or you're using on your body, I am not a health practitioner. I have no right to recommend this for you. This, I guess it could be considered a medical something device, like masks are, but I can't recommend it to you. I can't tell you to go try this, but I can just share with you my journey. And so that's what I plan on doing with Yoni eggs because it is a little bit fringe and it's kind of new-ish, although it's been around for centuries. But it's kind of coming up into our awareness, and I think it's coming into our awareness for a reason. There's a lot of issues happening right now with womanhood, uteruses, our wombs, our sexuality, our sexual expression, body autonomy, things like that. So I know that this is kind of a hot topic, and I'm going to stay neutral politically because I don't want to necessarily focus on those types of issues in this episode. I really want to talk about manifestation, abundance, calling in, where we put our energy to, where we focus on, and how Yoni eggs can help us focus on our womanhood, our sisterhood, cultivating that abundance, that manifestation, that creativity that is in our sacrals. And men and women both have a sacral chakra. So that's why men, this can be, if you're still listening, this can also be very helpful for you. Although you don't have a vagina to stick the Yoni egg up into, if you are a male human being, this can still help you in the focusing your energy in on that center of creativity and as well as sexual expression and creative life force energy. Hello, Soulish Tribe. So I know that I'm not alone and always feeling thirsty. Even though I hydrate throughout the day, I'm always feeling that I need more water, especially after those cycling classes. My friends James and Mark over at Zaka have the perfect solution. Zaka's Hydration and Liverade is the #1 recovery and hydration solution for working out, jet lag, or drinking, maybe just a little too much. Zaka uses herbs such as Japanese raisin as well as other natural and fermented ingredients that are safe and without artificial flavors. Zaka is unique because it doesn't just replenish what your body needs, but also supports your body's natural ability to recover. It's 2 very, very yummy and berry chewable tablets that you can put under your tongue or chew up and swallow. Go to Zaka.com, that's ZACA.com, and use promo code SOULISH15 to get 15% off of your order. I actually watched an episode about Yoni eggs on the Almost 30 podcast. And so I will link the website because this is where I bought them from. And then I bought my other 2 Yoni eggs a couple weekends ago when I was visiting Christine Rodriguez in Austin, Texas, and Yasmin Elzamore. Both of them have been on the podcast before. And so we went into a crystal shop and I found these and they just asked me to bring them into the tribe. So I was like, you want to be in my vagina? You can be in my vagina. I accept you. You can come on in. So it's really cool. I bought these rose quartz and mahogany obsidian, and then this is lapis lazuli. I can never say it. Lazuli. Sorry guys. And then this is larvikite. I can never say it either. Both of those. I don't know why is that so hard for me. So, manifestation, transformation, love, as well as grounding, banishing any negative energy. I mean, all of these, anything that is more see through than like a rose quartz is going to be banishing negative energy, that type. But there's a lot of like really cool energy. And that's why I really felt like these eggs were what I needed. Now, need is, I say that lightly. I don't believe that we really need anything outside of ourselves. But there are tools, right, that have energy codes, energy frequencies, light codes, whatever you want to call it, that actually do really help and support what we are doing. And so I just want to state that too. I don't think you need anything to connect with yourself, with God Source Universe, with others. I think that we are already hardwired to do that. So this is just a tool. And this is an optional tool. This is not a mandatory tool. You're not less spiritual, less of a woman if you don't use yoni eggs or you're opposed to them. But we're going to laugh a little in this episode because I'm going to get real with y'all about what this was like. I felt like a turtle. Every time one of these comes out, I feel like a turtle. It's like, yeah, it's interesting. But, my first thought is I've had these babes for 4 or 5 years. And these have been my staple crystals, clear quartz, obsidian, and then rose quartz. And so these have been like my staples. They remain in my house at all times. They also remain in my bedroom because I want them where I am most, and that's where I spend most of the time. If I've ever felt like I need to bring them out to like the workstation and need to have them with me, I bring them with me. But these are my babes, and I don't have a crystal collection. Like I don't have a wall or like a whole like table full of crystals. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a crystal collection or a wall or a table of crystals, but I just personally, I kind of like am happy with what I have, and I'm cool. Like I don't need to buy every crystal personally to feel grounded or to I don't know, feel like I'm in communion with the mineral people, as some people call them, or just grounding in earth energy. I really feel satisfied with the crystals that I do have. So it was really interesting when all of a sudden yoni eggs were coming up. And then I saw a podcast episode on the Almost 30 podcast, and then went through like a whole binging of all sorts of different things on YouTube, and kind of was like trying to figure it out, like what's the big deal? Because for me, I'm like, okay, I have a crystal. I don't want nor need to stick this up my yoni, you know, my vagina, to feel like I have the energy and the support of the crystal, right? So I'm like, why would I need to basically put this in a different form, right? Shaped into an egg shape. Why do I need to stick this up my vagina when I have this and I'm fine, just holding it? Because even holding it, which you can do with the yoni egg too, you don't have to insert it. But I just was like, what is the point of sticking something up my vagina? Because I mean, there are, I think we're a little afraid to get dirty, and like part of your vagina is like a whole ecosystem in there. So you're constantly cleansing and detoxing, and your vagina does that on its own. So if there's issues, if you have like yeasty issues, well, yeah, then like maybe seeing like herbs for that, go to an herbal medicine doctor is what I recommend doing, not Eastern or not Western, but Eastern, because that will help to support your body in actually healing and correcting whatever imbalance is, not medicating it, and thus like turning off a receptor or something that your body actually needs. So I know like when we stick up foreign objects like tampons or a penis, right? It's like we can get a little like we want to be clean. And so I was kind of a little worried with that with this, because I'm like, like so do I rinse it with soap first and then after? Like, what do I do in order to feel clean? And so I think it's up to you when you use these, like what you need to do in order to feel clean. I would just say use as much herbal, clean, like organic, chemical free things that you can use. And with these, you don't necessarily want to use like an oil based lubricant if you need it. But I'm going to tell you about my process to avoid lubrication, like like outside lubrication other than your own. But it's really interesting. So I was kind of like, I feel like this is just one of those things that is like a popular something happening, and that this is, not something that this is like just a trend. I just felt like, I think this is just a trend, that this isn't necessarily something that actually can benefit you. I was super skeptical because I kind of question all things. It's part of my personality and makeup. But I was like, what is the difference between me holding this and inserting it into my vagina? So let me answer that for you. I think it's really interesting because in our wombs, right, we have a bunch of creative energy, life force energy in our womb, in our sacral area, as women, especially because it literally physically is the place of creation, right? Which is just amazing. Can't get over that and feel badass for being a woman in this life. But I was kind of skeptical, and so the first one that I did was the rose quartz. I first tried that, and I was like, let me see if I feel whatever, a intuitive shift that happens, an energetic shift that happens as I put in the rose quartz. So the process with putting these in, which I love, is actually a self massage. So first you kind of massage your breasts. This brings in this energy of welcoming in, of also self-love, which I mean we should be doing anyway, but you first kind of just massage your breasts, massage your body, like really get into your body. It's not necessarily in a sexual way. Like I feel like we sexualize our bodies so much. It's not necessarily in a sexual way. It's just in a way of like soothing, of loving yourself, of saying, "Hey, like you're beautiful, you're lovely. Thank you so much. Like I'm so grateful for my body. I'm so grateful for what it does for me." And so that's basically what a breast massage does. You work down to your stomach, and then you work down to your vagina like entrance. And so typically you do that with the yoni egg. So it's always the biggest part in first. And so I just take it and I start, moving it around my clitoris, moving it around my lips, moving it around my vagina, and just basically signaling to my body that, hey, like, I want to bring this in. Something is going to enter you, right? Something is about to enter you to come into this space. And as soon as you open up and accept it, I'm going to bring this in. But I'm going to take my time with it. I'm not just going to shove it on up there, right? And that doesn't feel good at all, by the way, ever, even with a tampon. And this actually made me really consider or reconsider what I do when I'm on my period or on my cycle, and how I just kind of like, just shove a tampon in and like go about my day. I was like, whoa, like I don't take the time to like open up my body to receive this, even though it's like organic cotton, compostable, whatever. Still, like I'm just like shoving this plastic thing and then this cotton thing up in me, and I'm not really like being kind to my vagina. I just realized like it's so like just shove it on up there and go on. And I was like, I don't like that. I'm gonna change that. um so this process actually really inspired me with that, of like to take more time, and especially in a really sacred time of cleansing and renewal, like beginning a new cycle, like that's actually pretty awesome, and like a really amazing time to really focus in and give yourself a lot of self-love, self-care, and speak affirmations over yourself of like what you want this next cycle to be like. And so yoni eggs is another way that you can do that. Some women wear these like jewelry, and they will even wear them during their cycle. Women feel like, the cleansing period is a sacred time of cleansing. Nothing, is really meant to go in. And so they, or maybe except for a tampon, but they don't really feel like that's the time for a yoni egg. Some women feel like it's the perfect time. So it's really just up to you. It's really up to you. So it's basically, I just move this around the entrance of my vagina. And then once it's crazy. You actually feel a shift happen of like, yes, I accept this. Like your body gets ready to receive. And it's such a strange shift, not gonna lie. Like when I was tuning into my body, it was like, damn, like, have I ever done this? Have I ever actually felt this shift? You know, have I ever felt my body come into a mode of receiving, instead of just being like in the mood or in the zone or whatever? Like, I don't know if I've ever actually waited for that moment, and it made me really reconsider my sexual activity, my sexual expression, when I'm having sex, whatever, even self love. It made me reconsider how I go about that and what I'm going to be communicating in the future. So I thought that was really cool. And I definitely want to encourage you, if you end up doing this, to really wait for that moment, because it's actually a really beautiful moment of opening and being receptive, which is feminine energy 101, right? Invitation and opening and receiving. And there's nothing more beautiful than that. So as soon as I felt that shift with the opening, I went ahead and I just very gently inserted it. So for me, I didn't have any issues with lubrication. That was part of the opening and getting ready process. Your body is so amazing. And it automatically started lubricating and getting ready for something to come in. So I think that's key. Now, if you don't have that experience, you can use like a water-based lubricant, or you can just wait. You can wait until your body generates. Sometimes it's also a fear of the unknown, fear of a new experience that holds back. Like, women, man, we are multifaceted. Okay, we are not just like one track, which is very masculine energy, as well as the male brain is very like, get there, do it, A to B, boom, make it happen. Women are not like that. We are spaghetti. Every noodle touches every noodle. So you have to know that, like, if you have any reservations in your mind, that may stop you from being ready. You may feel even the openness, but there may be some resistance there, because ultimately it doesn't feel safe. And so, in everything that we ever do with our bodies, we should always feel 1000% safe. 1000% safe. You should never do anything with your body that you don't feel safe, doing. So that's my major, like, and if or buts, it must be safe. So if you have a fear, take the moment to just sit with those yoni eggs, if you have one or multiple like me. Sit with it, and even just meditate with holding them. Start kind of acclimating to having it around you, even holding it, maybe even sitting and kind of putting it under, like, between your lips, kind of at your vaginal entrance, kind of sitting on it like hens do. And maybe even doing something like that at the beginning, which is something that I had to do. When I first got it, I was kind of like, dude, I don't even know how I feel about this. And I also was testing it out. So I was like, I'm just going to do it right now. So I took an egg and I literally just, we're doing this now. Now, I'm wearing no underwear. So you feel that something's there, right? So you're like, okay, so that egg is there. It's kind of at my entrance. It's, sitting in your vulva kind of space. And so doing that, just even starting there, and maybe even using that to meditate. You don't have to necessarily insert it if you're not feeling safe about it. So you can either do that, you can sit on it. If you feel ready, if you feel open, if you're lubricated and you're ready and you feel no reservations, you feel totally safe, you can go ahead and just slowly insert it. So I used my middle finger to kind of push it up past basically the G spot area, kind of where your pubic bone is. So I went ahead and looped it in past that point. And mine have no strings. So that's another thing that some of my girlfriends were like, you're gonna put that in you and it has no string to like get it if you want it out. I was like, nope, I'm going full on. I'm going full on with this thing, and I am like, just, I'm going to trust it. And if I can't get it out, I guess like, I'll have to go to like an OBGYN and just have a really interesting conversation, an interesting experience. But in all honesty, what I got from the Yoni Eggs website, which helped me with the fear, is that they even put it in their notes that they send you, is that it cannot get stuck. So it's not possible for it to get stuck. And although this can be in you for hours, like, and even overnight and even days, it can be in you from 3 to 4, 5 days maybe. Um, it will eventually come out. And sometimes these eggs, like with whatever one you're feeling, you know, leaning towards or attracted to. Like for me, it was the mahogany obsidian, which I'm currently sitting on, as well as the rose quartz. I first was really feeling those. And so that basically is kind of an indicator that there's some work to be done and that this crystal is happy to help and support you and even maybe wants to. There's some intelligence there that says, I want to support you. It would be an honor to support you. And so I think the mahogany obsidian, the first time that I had it in me, I had it in me for half of a day and the entire night. And the next day around 11, I felt it drop and immediately it came out as soon as I had it. So I there was one night where I had the rose quartz and I knew I was about to start my cycle. So I was like, I may start overnight. Sometimes that happens, right? And I just don't want this in there like when I start, because that will be like weird and messy and that's the last thing I just want to deal with. So I was like, hey, can you come out? And it was really funny because it wouldn't come out. So I went into the bathtub and you were supposed to do like a low squat and then basically use your muscles to push it out. So I was doing that, not successfully. And so finally, instead of pushing it out and really kind of making it, forcing it to happen, I finally actually said, like, hey, thank you so much. I literally said this out loud. I was like, hey, thank you so much for being inside of me, for helping me really kind of focus in on love. Self love was what I was really working on with the rose quartz. And so I just thanked it. I was like, thank you so much for helping me to really focus in on that throughout the day and really kind of be aware of my thoughts around self-love and my emotions around self-love, the conversations that I've had with other people about self-love. Thank you so much for really helping me with that and helping me to be aware, and so that I can come into more healing, more abundance in the area of self-love and receiving love, giving and receiving love. But I know I'm about to start my cycle. Can you please descend and come on out? No joke. As soon as I said it, boom, I felt it. You feel like a bit of a turtle. And it came out. It totally dropped. And I was like, got it. So it's really just, it's the intention. It's asking for that collaboration. It's a real collaborative effort with the yoni eggs and with crystals in general, and really any elements that we use. So sage, Palo Santo, anything that you use to smudge, to clear, to cleanse, to set you up energetically, anything that we use outside of ourselves, it's a collaborative effort. Now, I know that some people really believe that there is a divine intelligence with crystals because they are really concentrated elements, ancient elements that have been around for centuries in order to form the way that they formed. And so a lot of people believe that there's a higher, intelligence versus like a rock that you would find on the pathway. That there's more divine intelligence and more strong energy, in it. So that there is that sort of sense of this is in a sense, a higher vibrational, maybe first or second density, being, awareness, energy, whatever you want to call it. And so there is that conversation that happens with like the mineral people. And that's what a lot of people call them. That's something that it was new to me this year. At the beginning of the year, I'd never heard of it before. It's like mineral people. Like, is that everything? Is that every mineral, or is it just rocks or crystals or stuff? I wasn't sure. Is that bones, like dinosaur bones? Is that, what all encompasses mineral people? But I know like when I've done plant medicine journeys, I have definitely connected with the energy, with the divine intelligence of that plant, right? So for me, it's not far-fetched to think that an element like, a crystal would have divine intelligence and energy and all of that. So here's the thing between sitting on it versus holding it versus actually inserting it. When I first inserted the rose quartz for the first time, that was the first yoni egg I've ever had, the best I've ever had. Sorry guys. But basically I immediately felt an energetic shift. And I felt an energetic shift as soon as I even had like was touching myself with it. I felt that energy shift and then was tuning into my body, that my body was open and ready to receive my rose quartz yoni egg. And as soon as it did, and as soon as I inserted it, it was like from head to toe, something shifted energetically into the positive. Like I felt an immediate shift happen within me. And I was like, interesting. I totally doubted this. And look, it's happening. So I really felt like it not only helped me to physically focus on something that is inserted. So then you're always kind of focusing on your womb, on your creative center, on your sacral, on issues of love, or, ideas of love, or expectations of love, and disappointments, hurt, words that have been spoken by dear friends that were hurtful, harmful, right? Like betrayals, whether in a relationship or in a friendship. And it brought up all these different things for me in that day that I had it, which I had it through till the next day, till around 11. Um, but I really felt a shift. And so I was kind of asking my guides, like, why is that? Why is it that having this inserted close up into my vagina, and close to my cervix, because it can actually travel very far up to where it's like you can't even reach it with your finger. You can tap on like the little part of it, the tip, but you can't, like, you can hardly get your finger, like around it. If you do that, sorry, I'm trying not to flip you off, but like if you have your finger inserted, right, it's like um that can be difficult if it's all the way up inserted into you. So I think that I think that's one part where it can be a little iffy. It can be a little scary when you feel it all the way up and you can't reach it. So, if you want to start with one that has a string attached where you can just gently pull it down like you would a tampon, you can certainly do that. Or you can squat low in the bathtub. I wouldn't recommend the toilet because then you're fishing for it in the toilet if you don't catch it in time. That's really awkward, and just not sanitary in my opinion. So I did it in the bathroom, so that way, in the bathtub, so that way I could catch it, and it's not plopping into water. So for me, that's what I did. But then I had to still ask it and thank it for its work, but ask it to go ahead and exit. In order for it to actually exit, I pushed for like 15 minutes and I couldn't get it out. So it's not that it was stuck necessarily. I know it would have come out because I've worked with these long enough now, for I think a month or so. I've worked with them, and every single time I have the intention of like, okay, I think I'm done having this, focusing in on this. I want to focus on something else, or I'm just done with this. And so as soon as I think that, immediately it drops down if it was high up in there. So all that to say, spiritually, on a spiritual note, I do think that having a crystal within the area of birth, within the area, or as close as it can be in the area of creation, I think it amplifies the energy of that stone, whatever that stone is. So transformation. Um, Also, I think this one is all about helping you with transition, helping you with change and adaptability. Um, and so that's really awesome. And I needed that, especially during my move. And this is also really powerful around manifestation, around empowerment as well, freedom, finding liberty in mind as well, anything kind of in your thoughts and stuff. So I believe that when we have that up in our vagina, in our around our cervix, our womb, our uterus, I think that it does amplify the energy of that stone because that is such a creative center. Now, could you hold this close to your womb and it be effective, or help you, support you? Yes. But there is something about, just in my personal experience with inserting it up into your vagina, that it really did shift things for me. And I really did feel, I felt something within myself that I've never felt before. I know that that's really, really, really vague, and I'm sorry, but I honestly am having a hard time even putting words to it. It shifts something within my center that I feel and I can't deny and I cannot ignore. So I think that yoni eggs are really, really powerful tool if you want to use them. I think that you could also have them and have them as like a representation of manifestation of new beginnings of, since it's in that egg shape, you know, that it maybe just even looking at it is something that could inspire you, encourage you, uplift you, and holding on to it, maybe keeping it in your bag or your purse or bringing it with you places like you would any other crystal. But even just in this egg shape, right? It just kind of signifies birth, birthing something new, coming into something new. So if that's all that you want to use it for and you don't actually want to insert this up into your vagina, totally cool. Um, that's totally fine. I think that's super effective. I don't think that that's not effective, and I don't think that that's not supportive. So, all this to say, I think any way that you use these yoni eggs or any crystals for that matter, I just would not ever recommend shoving a crystal up into your vagina for multiple reasons, sharp edges being one of them. But same with working with crystals of any kind, it can only benefit you. It's not going to harm you, it's not going to hurt you. There are, different studies and things like that that have been done that say there are some negative side effects. And I just say, just be in tune with your body. I haven't received any negative side effects. I haven't gotten any kind of infections, and I use these quite regularly. I don't have any infections, but I'm a clean person as well. I make sure to clean them properly with non-chemical cleaners, things like that. But I think that it's some of that stuff may be out there for the purpose of misinformation as well as deterring us from connecting, because ultimately I think that is the threat with everything we've been experiencing political wise and in our country and across the world with womanhood, sisterhood, connecting with our bodies, connecting with our creative centers, fertility, all of that. I think that there is an agenda. It's more than just depopulation or disempowerment of women. I think there's multiple things there that we don't have time to get into in this episode, but this has brought me into a level of openness, especially with my sisters, my non blood related sisters. I think it's created more of an open conversation on also just knowing your body and being aware of your body. I think most of us have never felt our cervix. Most of us don't even know how to tell whether or not you're ovulating just by checking your cervix, um and I think it's really interesting to get more in tune with our bodies and to have that be a focus in this next year. I think it's already happening amongst the collective of women, but I just think if it's not, maybe start kind of looking at that and just getting really, really, really more in tune, more in touch with your body, more communication happening between you and your body, and gratitude and love with your body. I mean, that's what it's all about. There's so much out there. I'm a curvy girl. Y'all know this. We've talked about this before. I'm a curvy girl. I don't have like a Victoria's Secret or model or anything perfect body. But I'm fucking gorgeous, and I know it. The thing is that there is this, standard of beauty that we think that we have to reach. And so like if I'm not that, then I'm not worthy of love, or I'm unattractive, or I'm not sexually attractive, or I can never keep a man because I have fluffy lovin's, or like I'm curvy and I have lovin's everywhere, like I think it's like really stupid that we have this standard of beauty. And it's not just happened in this like, couple hundred of years. I mean, it's been thousands of years that women have been scrutinized and controlled and manipulated and been traded and all of that. And so this is the time when we get to live free. and we get to live free in our sexual expression, our sexual, identity. There's so much freedom happening. And so I think yoni eggs are another way for you to connect with yourself. If you're kind of more on the private side, I have a couple girlfriends who are more private, more secretive. It's not because they are hiding, but they just are a little bit more to themselves when it comes to things like that. And I have to say, I do lean more towards that way. If I'm with my girls, I speak pretty openly, um, but I am more on the private side. So even doing this episode for me is kind of a big deal. I'm not usually this public with things like this. But I think it's a really important conversation because we are coming to a new place of freedom, a new place of manifestation, a new place of abundance and empowerment for women, where we are no longer giving away our power, our preference, or our identity, or our worth, our value away to others to define, right? And we're taking that back. And so whether you're curvy, whether you're thin, whether you have boobs, you don't have boobs, whether you have an ass, you don't have an ass, whether your lips are brown, blue, pink, purple, whatever they are, if you have long labia, short labia, if you have a big clit, a tiny clit, if you like hair, if you don't like hair, whatever you like, it is fully your right to be who you want to be and what you are. Like, you are perfect as you are. You need nothing. And so I just want to state that. It's so important in this conversation. So even yoni eggs, you don't need it. You don't need it, babe. You don't need it. But it is a cool tool. It's a fun tool. It's helped me to come more into my body, more into empowerment, to explore myself even more, and to trust my body as well. And I think that's been something that I realized is not only can I trust my body, but I'm also tuning in more into my body and learning how my body signals to be open and receptive, or nope, we're closed, you know, not happening today. And so I listen to that and I just honor that because I ultimately want to honor my body. This is my vessel. This is what I came here in. And so I want to honor my body in everything I do, right? My diet, what I drink, the air I breathe, my stress level, my thoughts, my emotions, all of that, my chemical, orientation, my biodata. That's why I have an aura ring. So I know kind of I can tune into my recovery period overnight and see how I'm feeling the next morning and tune in. I think it's just so important to tune in because we have so much competing and so many ways to tune out and to disassociate. And so that's one thing that I've found with yoni eggs is I can be head in the clouds. I can be working ferociously on things, on projects, but I can have a yoni egg inserted and I just feel so grounded and I feel so in my body and I feel so like in tune and connected. It's just helping me. It's a good reminder when you feel it, which I was surprised that you don't feel it as much as I thought you were going to feel it. At least I don't. And so it's still, you do feel it. And it's a great reminder that, hey, focus in on this in every way, integrate in every way, like bring this aspect of your life, your spirituality, your manifestation, your abundance, your empowerment, bring that into everything that you do. And so that's a great reminder. So whether you use it during just meditation and then you have it leave, whether you sit on it like I'm sitting on mine right now, and it doesn't necessarily get inserted. However you use them, if you just hold them, whatever you use them as is going to support you. If you feel like this isn't for you and even listening to this cringeworthy, you're like, yeah, no, never happening, not happening with, that's okay. Then it's not for you. Like, that doesn't mean that you're less than, that this, something wrong with you because you're not open to it, or you think it's too woo-woo or fringe. That's totally fine. It is not meant for everybody, and maybe it's that it's meant for everybody, but maybe it's just not the right time for you too. So it could go either way, right? And so I just want to encourage you guys, if you feel like it, I will link the yonieggs.com website and any other websites that I can find as helpful resources of information or to purchase your yoni eggs from that I have found are reputable. I did buy my other two in an actual crystal store. So that is also something you can do. You can go to a crystal store and ask them if they have any either egg shaped or Yoni egg shaped crystals, and they can help you. A lot of them are careful, like they'll sell them, but they're careful to say whether or not it's supposed to be inserted for legal reasons, okay? Because they can't tell you that that's what it is, or that's the recommendation use, right? Because that would be what a doctor or a health practitioner would be doing. So you will find that they are a little bit averse to telling you that it is a Yoni egg, but if it looks like this, it's a Yoni egg. It's a Yoni egg. But you can also, decide for yourself. If you don't feel comfortable with it, that's fine. If you do, cool. Either way, totally up to you. Totally your choice. And this is just another tool, again, to help you in your journey of empowerment. Now, for men, this is something where you can totally buy them too. They're not meant to be inserted into your rectum or any other hole. They are only meant to ever be inserted into the vagina of a mature adult woman, by the way, and not a young lady or a child, a little girl. But what you can do is you can also buy them and you can hold them. And even though you're not, you don't have a vagina, right? You're not female in physical form in this incarnation. You can still even bring this in as like I'm channeling my divine feminine. I'm bringing in that divine feminine energy into my life. I want to cultivate that. I want to be more in the flow. I want to easily create and manifest new things and bring in that prosperity and that abundance and that multiplication into my life. And so if that's, what you feel more drawn to with Yoni eggs as a man, then, or male, that's one way that you can use them. And that is not weird. That is so not weird. And, especially if it's your crystal, but hey, I mean, you can ask your wife or your life partner if she has any. You can ask her if you can hold them and pray or meditate with them, and she might actually like that. It might be a positive connection point for the two of you. So you can get spicy with it too. But I just want to encourage you that whether men or women, any kind of crystal is going to support you, especially if you're feeling drawn to it and it's calling out to you. So just use your gut, use your intuition, and just be guided. Really just be guided in this journey of Yoni eggs. But I would love to hear your comments below. I would love to continue the chat, to continue this conversation. Let me know if you want more info, if you want another episode on this. I'm happy to do another episode, but I just really wanted to share this with you, this part of my journey with you, because it's been a really interesting journey, and to feel that shift was something else. And it was really encouraging and it was really inspiring. So I want you to experience that shift in whatever practice you have and in whatever you do. And so if it's with Yoni eggs or it's with some other practice or modality or tool that you have, I love hearing that, and I love sharing good things that support us and help us in this life, because that's what it's all about. So I love you all so much. Comment below, let me know what you thought, if you think it's fringe and woo woo and whatnot, if you love it, if you just let me know if you buy one and which one you bought. I just want to hear all the deets. So let's continue the conversation in the comments, and I cannot wait for our 100th episode. Super excited. Thank you for listening. I love you guys so much.